Welcome to the Messiah's Branch broadcast, a one-hour prophecy program on the American Voice Radio Network, featuring Pastor Dan of the Messiah's Branch Ministry. And now, here's Pastor Dan.
Greetings, saints, and welcome to the Messiah's Branch Prophecy Hour. We are broadcasting live from the Flint Hills of Kansas, and we're on the American Voice Radio Network. Today's date is June 8, 2023. Saints, the world is in turmoil. Most still don't realize it, but we are in that time of the end, and that's the time before Messiah's glorious return. And believe me, folks, things are really getting strange out there. So it's really time to get out of sin if you're not already in the world. Look to that holy city. That's the time clock. Look to the one who suffered and died for you, Yeshua HaMashiach. Did you not hear the sound of the shofar? Please, please, please heed that warning and get right now before it's too late. Please make a choice for Yeshua tonight. If you need help after the program, call me. I'll pray for you or with you. If you get the machine, leave your name, number, prayer request, and or message. The phone number, you can just call my cell phone, but please send me a text first so I know that it's not a robocall. I don't know about you folks, but I've been getting a lot of them. Anyway, the cell phone number is 316-619-4886, and that's not a secondary cell phone. That's my personal cell phone, so consider it. If you just want to leave a message on something else, it's not a big rush, 620-878-4682. Now, listen, you can always find the breaking news over there at prophecyhour.com. We've got a lot of things over there. You can go over there and sign up to get 2 daily digests today that will tell you show you all the articles in which that we post every day. Some days I post maybe 40 articles. Some days it's 5. Some days it's 10. But I can guarantee you they're the latest and breaking things that you need to know about. And you can also, over there at prophecyhour.com, you can also find updates about the Wichita Mission Church, the radio program archives, all of our contact and information that's at our ministry hub, which is very simply prophecyhour.com. And by the way, my wife just walked in the door, which we call her Linda Lake Catlin. Yeah, remember, we are a live radio program, which is simulcast live on net internationally on some independent FM stations with 4 different MP streams, live video and audio on Twitch, DLive, Twitter, Rumble, YouTube, and PhoneBridge. More to come with that, and picked up by most every podcatcher out there. And I strongly advise, if you folks are listening on Apple iTunes, consider listening on one of the other things, because Apple iTunes tends to suppress us. Anyway, so let's thank our listener bases worldwide in places like McKaylee,
Finland, Cambridge, New Zealand, Nottingham, United Kingdom, and in the U.S. we have USA, we have Denver, Colorado, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Santa Cruz, California, and Miami, Florida. And Hutchinson, Kansas was the largest group of listeners last week when it posted the podcast at branch.podomatic.com. That's branch.podomatic.com.
Dear Heavenly Father, in Yeshua HaMashiach's name I pray. Father, I pray really tonight goes according to your will and not our will, Father. And please, especially tonight, Father, give everyone out there ears in which to hear and understand the truths that we're going to give them tonight. So please, Father Yahweh, in your Son, Yeshua HaMashiach's mighty name, bless this program tonight. Amen and amen. Now our song.
Now have you seen them flying saucers or some of them black helicopters flying down low and over my backyard recently? See them foreign troops in ninja suits leaving imprints of their combat boots in the meadow down near the neighbor next to me. For they're building concentration camps from the rate hike off our postage stamps to protect and defend their great democracy. Though my vote in the last election didn't quite match the same projection made by those beautiful talking heads on my TV. And when I called them to complain and I asked them to explain, they just said that it proves that you're not in the groove of the new majority. Yeah, sure. Well, just between you and me, can't you feel the conspiracy? Can't you sense the hypocrisy, as they call it democracy? Well, it's a threat to your sanity, and not to mention your liberty. And it's all an evil, filthy, rotten conspiracy. Now they've got microwaves and laser beams and rays that look inside your dreams and satellites that can see your DVDs. They got chips that fit inside your head that'll make you think their thoughts instead, and drugs that'll make you do just as they please. And to make things even more serious, they got strains of new bacteria that are surely to cause some unknown new disease. And that's why we got fear and high anxiety and paranoid perplexity and the gradual loss of all our liberties. And as they try to bring us all down, they might leave us with a frown. They might even be the source of all the rumors in this town. Well, just between you and me, can't you feel the conspiracy? Can't you sense the hypocrisy, as they call it democracy? Well, it's a threat to your sanity, and not to mention your liberty. And it's all an evil, filthy, rotten conspiracy. So as they redirect our mail and all our incoming phone calls to the Central Intelligence Agency, we'll just hope and pray someday they'll see that you and me are not the enemy, nor do we believe in cult theology. And as their police try to bust us, we'll keep trying to find some justice, so it's hidden behind a wall of masonry. We'll keep working out our salvation with the feeling of fear and trembling, hoping and praying someday the truth might set us all free. That's just 'cause the media won't respond don't mean there's nothing going on. And brother, what'll you do if there's something to all the words inside this song? Well, you can say that I'm wild-eyed, that all my fears are unjustified, or that I'm totally mystified by a man who's crucified. But just between you and me, what hung him up on that tree? It was all an evil, filthy, rotten conspiracy. Yeah, it's all an evil, filthy, rotten conspiracy. Believe me.
Okay, folks. First off, if you listen to that song, first thing I want you to know about that song is basically everything in the song is true. But there's going to be some things come out on this program in the second half of the program that are really, really just going to blow your mind away. If it doesn't, then you're just not listening. Things are fixing to get really strange and weird out there. Maybe some of this stuff is coming about from a distraction for this, but we're going to bring this forward first, and because this is breaking news that happened today. Go ahead.
Okay, breaking. Marjorie Taylor Greene drops bomb. Joe Biden was bribed and paid millions of dollars to have Ukrainian prosecutor investigating Burisma fired.
Stop. This is from the Gateway Pundit, and the reason I'm stopping my wife is, first off, folks, you remember back when Trump was questioning some things going on in Ukraine. See, he was questioning something about this that would have led directly to this. This was direct, so they impeached him to stop him from finding out about this. This is the absolute. This is exactly what happened. And so now the evidence is out. The FBI had been stonewalling and not wanting to give the report to Congress, but they said they were going to. In fact, they threatened to. They do have a jail in the Capitol building, and some of the Republicans said, we are going to lock you up in the jail and you can rot there till you put it, because they have the right to do that for contempt of Congress, and that's to the head of the FBI, which apparently the threat worked because this guy is deeply trying to save Biden by any means. So let's go on. Let's see what it says.
Okay, so the House Oversight Chairman, James Comer, Wednesday evening forced the FBI to allow all members of the committee to review the Biden bribery document and receive a briefing. Comer canceled the Thursday morning vote to hold FBI Director Chris Wray in contempt. GOP Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene on Thursday emerged from the SCIF and revealed explosive information about the Biden bribery document. The Ukrainian Biden bribery evidence was first presented to the FBI by a trusted, highly credible, well-paid informant back in 2017. Meanwhile, Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, enjoyed a highly lucrative position as a board member in Burisma Holdings, a Ukrainian natural gas company. According to MTG, the bribery allegations appeared to involve Mykola Zakhovetsky, the Ukrainian oligarch who hired Hunter Biden to serve on the board of Burisma Holdings. MTG said back in 2015-2016 that Burisma was looking to buy the U.S.-based oil and gas company, and this came from being advised by Hunter Biden and his partners. Okay, she continued that this was around the time that Joe Biden said the Ukrainian prosecutor Viktor Skolkom was corrupt. They hired Hunter on the board to make the problems go away, and Hunter advised that they could raise the money, more money, if they bought the U.S. company. He, the Burisma owner, paid $5 million to one Biden, and he paid $5 million to another Biden, and it was all bribery to get Skolkom fired, and in the investigation into Burisma, MTG said.
Okay, and so if we remember right, Joe Biden was actually caught. He was caught on video bragging about how he stopped. He was caught on video bragging that he was withholding $1 billion from Ukraine until they fired this guy. Well, he was bribed, so now we know. Now, see, he said that. We all said he was guilty, and that's what got Trump into question and things. And then, but see, here you go. Here's the proof. They paid not $5 million, but $5 million to one Biden and $5 million to another Biden. That's $10 million was paid to them from the Ukraine. You know, why is Ukraine so important to the Bidens and everybody else, and why are we fighting for them? Because the Ukraine is, the guy Zelensky that's in charge of the Ukraine is just a puppet. That's all he is. It's actually a deep state CIA-run country completely. Russia knows that. And that's why they invaded them, and because of all the bio plants that are there and everything. I don't even remember the number of bioweapons plants that are there. But this is concrete evidence. If these guys don't grow some strength...
Handcuffs.
Anyway, if they don't get right now, they should be immediately introducing impeachment for Biden right now. And the Democrats, of course, won't go for that. But this is absolute proof. And there's more proof out there than that. There's ample reason to impeach this guy. The biggest thing that's stopping him from impeaching him is they're all cringing over the fact that who would come next? Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
And so... that's where we're at with this. But so this is just craziness. This is a big news out today. If you don't understand this is big breaking news, wow. But the what I'm going to tell you about in the next part of the program after break is really going to blow you away. Yeah, and Frank says the treason trail, well, you know, you got to have, in order to charge him with treason, you got to have law enforcement in place in the Justice Department that are willing to do that, and I do not believe that we have that. But yeah, absolutely, this is treason. He sold his, as vice president, he sold his country out. This is actually treason. But the best thing that we could possibly do is start an impeachment trial with him or something. They got to stand up and do something. I don't know what that something is, but there is really some strangeness in the air. If you folks aren't getting ready, you better get ready, because everything's fixing to stop. What? No, I'm not stopping.
If it's like anything else in court, it takes a while, right? So if they started it now, it could possibly end up in court before the election, and he could get impeached right after the election, and then they could elect a new president, and Kamala Harris wouldn't be the president.
Well, the impeachment thing, here's the big deal. Well, I do agree they should start the impeachment thing, just for the mere fact that the impeachment would allow them to put all the evidence they have out to the public.
Right.
And that would influence the voting, see, you know,
right.
And so that would make that change that you're talking about, you know, so that is what needs to do. But, you know, so on an, I call it a lighter note, but it's not lighter. You know, we talked about it before. They said they weren't doing it, but guess what? They did it. New York City unveiled their crack pipe bending machines. New York City unveiled the crack pipe bending machines, but it was empty after the first day. However, Ellen Corsi, the opiate overdose program director at Services for Underserved, said they will restock it every day. But not to be outdone by New York's stupidity, the California State Senate has passed Senate Bill 533, which prohibits employers from maintaining policies that require employees to confront active shooters, or suspected shoplifters. The legislation will move on to the policy committee in the state assembly. Read this.
Under my SD 553, employers would be prohibited from forcing their workers to confront active shoplifters. At all retail employees would be trained on how to react to active shoplifting. The legislation has other provisions that keep people safe at work. Let's take every responsible step to prevent another workplace assault or shooting.
Okay, so this bill stops it. It would make it illegal for an employee, like say if there an active shooter came in and started shooting at somebody, and somebody, I started to say, so anyway, if somebody in California would actually have a gun that they legally have, which there are some right to conceal carry people in California, not a lot, I don't guess, but if somebody tried to do it in self-defense and stop him and maybe killed him or suppressed him, they could put the guy in jail for doing it, you know. And then active shoplifters. Retail, what's that? That's telling these people, hey, if I live in California and they're not allowed to stop me from shoplifting, you know, I'm going to put on a mask and go in there because I don't want to be on camera, you know, be all over the place. So I'm going to pull out a camera and I'm going to run in there and I'm going to just get whatever I want to get because there's nobody going to stop me.
If you're not of God, because God knows.
Right.
Right.
That was not even a given. I was being sarcastic,
right.
Not like I would do it, you know. But that is what the people in California will do and are already doing because they already don't charge them with shoplifting. Okay, we got some other news out here. You folks better realize that you better be stocking up and getting things to do that with, especially bread.
I heard on my talk radio Friday on the way into town that California also figured out a cure for their fentanyl problem. They're going to give free crack pipes out because they'd rather have people smoking coke than doing fentanyl.
Well, and New York has those machines in California. If they haven't already put them in place, are going to. So that's what we're already talking about. Anyway, the Kansas wheat harvest will be the smallest since 1957. Kansas normally produces more wheat than any other place in the United States by a wide margin. Now the harvest in our state, Kansas, will be the smallest we've seen since 1957. For the last 2 years, a drought has withered a lot of the crop. And that's right. I noticed as we're out riding, we take a ride on a motorcycle and we see all the ponds and stuff. you can tell the water level is in the ponds and the cattle are drinking them are just way, way down. So this wheat harvest in Kansas is shaping up to be the smallest since 1957. Then we have the United States beef cow herd is the smallest since 1962, and so that's going to affect beef prices, and to those of us that eat beef predominantly, that's a big deal. But it's orchestrated. I even believe the weather's even controlled. The drought, I believe, is intentional. The orange harvest in Florida will be approximately 56% smaller than last year. And 90% of Georgia's peach crop for 2023 has been destroyed, and then more than a third of all U.S. corn production in areas that are currently experiencing drought. So corn is way down too. So corn, all these things are in it. The corn oil is in lots of things. Look through some of your products. You'll think, well, I don't eat canned corn, or I don't eat corn on the cob. Corn's in a lot of things.
Yeah.
And
I've been noticing all over, everywhere you go, all over Kansas, and I travel around a lot of our area, but there is so much farmland for sale. There's more farmland for sale than I've ever seen in my life.
Well, you also, what you have is beyond drought and all these other things that we're talking about like that, they're having a hard time getting fertilizer, and the government is imposing things on them to actually run farmers out of the business.
Yeah.
But in reality, what they want is they would want all the independent farmers to go out of business. They want it to be all owned by corporations so that they can control everything.
Yeah.
But I am telling you folks, you really need to come back. We're going to be taking a break in a couple minutes, but I'm telling you, you really, really need to come back and listen to what we have to say after break, because if you really listen to it and really pay attention, it should blow you away.
They stop at no end when they tried to kill the bird so you wouldn't have no chicken, and then you didn't want no eggs. So then when that didn't completely work for them, then they altered the food so they wouldn't produce any.
Yeah, we have evidence of that. Yeah, absolutely. The big kicker is to be privately, but the big kicker in all this is to be right with Yeshua HaMashiach. And I haven't even explained to my wife. She might think she knows what I'm going to do on the second part of the program, and she might have already seen it because I sent her a link to it a while ago, but I don't think she watched it.
I haven't been home all day.
Okay, so I'm going to show her at break time what I'm talking about. But it is pretty mind-blowing. We're about to see some really strange things, and not that we aren't already. I will impose upon you folks, please share these radio programs. Share this radio program for sure, because that will help the ministry. The more people that listen to the program, the more people will consider donating to radio and to the Wichita Mission Church. I always say the Wichita Mission Church is just a home church with a building. In a building, so we take care of the poor and the homeless, and that's what we're supposed to be. In fact, Yeshua says that when he comes, that's basically what he's going to be doing. He's going to be judging people on the way he treated his brethren, all those that are saved. So tell everybody where they can find us, and we'll go to break.
Well, first I want to comment on that comment that Frank put up there that they're outlawing self-defense. How in the world can they do that?
Well, they've been doing it. They've been doing
I know they're doing it, but it's not right.
But they did it in school. I mean, they did it in school. Remember, they told our son, you don't have a right to defend yourself. Okay,
well, you can find all of our contact information, radio program archives, all the mission updates, and all is over there at prophecyhour.com. That's prophecyhour.com, and we'll be back in 4 minutes.
Go away. Pastor Dan will be right back.
Whether you are pre-trib, mid-trib, or pre-rapture, or post-trib, whatever your position is, this book will help you to find the truth. If you're really looking for the truth about the rapture, I honestly believe you will find it in this book. It'll settle into your spirit, because the truth is the Holy Spirit knows the truth about the rapture. And one of the reasons that the people other than post-trib can't seem to find peace about this is because the Holy Spirit is trying to tell them that they don't have the truth. That is, until they find post-trib. But either way, this is going to help you to find the peace about the rapture. I really recommend you get it. We offer them in shrink-wrap sets of 10. 1 for 20, 10 for 30, and 20 for 50 at prophecyclub.com. 1 for 20, but don't do that. 10 for 30, 20 for 50, give you extras to give to your friends. Because once you read this one, you're going to be handing this to your pastors, to all of your Christian friends, and just ask them to read it. If they get through the first chapter, they're going to read the whole book, and they're going to love it, and it's going to help them to really find the truth about the rapture. Hal Pre-Trib 1 at prophecyclub.com.
In this time of the social and spiritual breakdown of America and the world, in these prophetic end times, God is calling multitudes of Christians to the Ozarks and other safe havens around the world to survive so they can spread the gospel. The Ark Haven Intentional Neighbors vision is to prepare Christians physically, mentally, and spiritually for these end times. Thousands are coming to the Ozark Mountains in Arkansas and Missouri, where even the CIA says it's one of the safest places on earth. The Intentional Neighbors concept allows Christian neighbors to own adjacent land to each other so they can aid and help each other. The community is exploding with nurses, a doctor, and other professionals, as well as many others. If you cannot afford to buy a house, you can rent a house. Call 479-502-1789. That's 479-502-1789, or visit arkhaven.org. That's arkhaven.org. Tell them Pastor Dan sent you.
Well, we're back. This is Pastor Dan and
Linda Catlin.
And you're listening to Messiah's Branch of Prophecy, our American Voice Radio Network. Well, folks, as we said before break, food's getting more and more scarce, and you need to prepare. I mean, you need to prepare right now, because things are really getting strange out there, and we're looking to some big things. And I just heard from Stan Johnson, who will be on radio with me next week, because he's going to talk about some of this stuff that we're going to talk about. But he said that he heard that as of tomorrow, that NATO will be officially in world war with Russia tomorrow. Now, he said he's yet to completely confirm the report that he heard, but here's the point. We got, with this stuff coming, listen to me, with this stuff coming out about Biden and all these things, they're going to have to pull something in order to stay in power. These people will be pouring, maybe it's here comes the aliens.
That's what I think is going to happen.
I don't know yet. I don't know yet. In fact, we're going to be talking about some strange stuff here in a minute. But first, but support us so we can care for the people that fathers sends us. Men, women, and children who come from all walks of life, who've had a bad break, come to us for help. We don't get any help from the government. It's only folks like you that support us are now in our 23 year that make the mission church work.
24th.
Oh, 24th. Yeah, I need to change that, don't I? We started our 24th year.
June 1st.
June 1st. We minister to people in a part of town most people don't even like to drive through. And beyond that, we have people that come from other parts of town to be able to get help. And yes, Frank, I know we've been in war with Russia for at least 3 months, but we're talking about an official declaration of war, which is different than the covert war that we've been experiencing. And so, yeah, I know we've been at war with it, and everybody knows it. It's been what they call the proxy war. But anyway, moving right along. So we minister to people in a part of town people don't even want to drive through, but yet we still have people coming to us from all over town for Bibles, for prayers, for food, clothing, anything that we can muster for them. And no, it's not a bunch of alcoholics and drunks. So pray about supporting what we do. We are the last hope for so many. And folks, we're all responsible to care one for another, as we are our brothers' keepers. All donations, no matter what size, helps. Pray about it. We really need your support. The Father notices all donations that come from where?
Your heart.
Your heart. If you don't wish to help with the poor, consider a donation for radio airtime. Radio airtime isn't free, and neither is electricity we use or the equipment. And so we pray that you would support us, or pray about supporting the prophetic news service, all those updates that you get over at prophecyhour.com. Now you can donate online or by Cash App or over the phone or mailing a check or money order, and you can find all that information
at prophecyhour.com. That's prophecyhour.com.
Yep. And I'm sorry, that was my phone I left on. Somebody's trying to call me. And if that's any of you folks out there, don't call me during radio. Okay. So, now then, my brain's kind of lost. Let's see what I'm going to go to next. Let me see if I've got it. Okay. Just a second. Oh, well, I know where I got it. Right here. I shut it after. Talk for a second.
Okay, what do you want me to talk about?
I don't care.
Everything's going good at the church. I just was able to get 5 more rolls of hamburger over in Hillsboro. I got 3 of them that was in the freezer that was $2.99 a pound, and then I got, he has them in the walk-in cooler that he had. If you buy the 10-pound rolls, you get it for $3.39 a pound, which is still not really a bad price because everywhere else it's over $4 a pound.
So how many did you get?
I got 5 more. I got 10 in the freezer now that I need to take to church tomorrow.
All right. Well, amen. So we're going to go with this. And, folks, this is actually in light of something else that happened yesterday. Well, it was the day... Yes, I think I found out about it yesterday. I think it actually came out on Monday, but everybody's talking about it. And this could be, these kind of things could be used as a distraction. This may be the distraction away from the Biden thing to stay in power, you know. I don't know. But this has nothing to do with the government in the sense of what I did. This is what I showed my wife during break time. And so let's go with this.
Okay, a UFO crashes in Las Vegas and the police body cam captures a mysterious event as the residents reported encounter with non-human beings. The police was watching the thing crash, and 5 seconds later somebody called 911 and said, "Hey, there's an alien in our backyard."
Well, everybody.
Yeah. A Las Vegas, Nevada family says they saw very large non-human beings in their backyard just moments after an unidentified object crashed into their backyard. KLAS is reporting that on April 30th, around 11:50 p.m., a strange object was recorded on Las Vegas Metro police body cam while streaking through the sky, presumably crashing near the family's home.
Okay, now I'm going to send this link. I've already sent it over, but I'm going to send it one more time over to prophecyhour.com. And if you go to the categories, the one that says Bigfoots, aliens, and all those things, if you go into categories, you'll find it right there. But the video, you can actually see this blue object crashing down out of the sky. So let's go on and hear what this
is. While on the phone with the emergency dispatch, the seemingly frightened caller reported they're like 8 to 9 to 10 foot tall, and they look like aliens, and they're looking right at us. They have big eyes, he continued, like I can't explain it, and big mouths. They're shiny eyes, and they're human. They're 100% not human.
No, they're not human.
Yeah.
Okay.
A conservative. Okay.
No.
Police were quick to respond, arriving to the scene in just 30 minutes after their own observations of the unidentified phenomena. After police arrived on the scene, more family members corroborated what was reported to the dispatch, and officers told the witnesses that they seemed legitimately scared.
Legitimately scared.
Yeah.
They were legitimately scared, and you can see that in a video. The guy's almost shaking.
Yeah.
Come on, they just faced up to 8 to 10 foot tall aliens
with black eyes.
With black eyes and shiny skin. Well, my wife's laughing, and it is, yeah, ha-ha, but it's not ha-ha.
No.
Well, let's stop a second. I'm not on you. I just want people to realize The Bible says that it would be as in the days of Noah. As in the days of Noah, we had Nephilim walking the earth. I believe these things are demonic. I believe that they're Nephilims. I don't believe from another planet. I believe that they are Nephilim, crossbreeds from fallen angels and human beings. I believe that's what these are. I could be wrong, but part of this hoopla that's been coming out the last couple of days, if you have to pay attention, we'll get to that in a couple of minutes, they're talking, I'll just have to save that for that time. So let's finish with this story. But also realize, you can see the footage, you can see these people talking to the police on body cam, which I bet they wish they didn't, they wish they didn't put out, to the public, because they really are trying to cover it up. Let's go on.
Okay, I'm not going to BS you guys. The officer in the footage tells the family, one of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too. And
now you can plainly see that fall out of the sky from the policeman's camera. Okay.
KLAS further reports that the American Metro Society confirmed several reports in California, Nevada, and Utah of a bright flashlight in the sky.
Stop. This is something else they put in there. It says black SUVs were reported in the area that took the aircraft away, and all video of the backyard was blacked out. Now you can see that. The police start to walk into the backyard, and the camera's going. They talk to these people. When they step into the backyard, it's blacked out.
Yeah, that's a different video. That's on Twitter. The other one we watched was on TikTok.
No, what we watched was on Twitter.
Oh, was it Twitter?
Yes, and that's what we did see. That's what it showed it when they walked to the backyard. In fact, the police said it. They said we blacked out the video because the backyard's a private residence,
and
so you didn't see it. It had nothing to do with that. It had to do with they did not want you to see what was there, and this is the cover-up. This is the things that we're going to be talking about here in a little while. Anyway, right after this part. But let's go on and see what else it says.
KLAS further reports that the American Metro Society Meteor Society confirmed several reports in California, Nevada, and Utah of a bright flashlight in the sky. Flash. A bright flash in the sky. I added the light. Okay, because it is a light. Okay, that's just my brain at work. Okay. Although there's no...
Well, I'm glad it's at least working.
Okay, there's still no definite answer as to what exactly transpired in the family's backyard. Multiple sources have been signaling that things would be getting more interesting. As Gateway Pundit reported just a few days ago, experts say disclosure is happening now.
Okay, I'll take this over for now. Okay, in an interview with Lee Paris and David Gross, David Gross is, I'm going to switch to a different document, so just give me 1 second. Okay, David Gross, an Air Force veteran and former intelligence officer, has come forward alleging classified information about the government's possession of non-human craft that is being illegally withheld from Congress. David Gross, 36, was a decorated combat officer in Afghanistan and is a former intelligence officer with the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, the NGA, and the National Reconnaissance Officer, NRO. What I seen from him on videos and stuff last night was the fact that, because there's a lot of stuff about him out there, that this agency, the intelligence agency that he worked for, is one of the most secretive intelligence agencies that we have. In fact, they're so secret that other parts of the government have no idea what they do. So, let's move on. Gross told her story to investigative journalists Leslie Kahn and Ralph Blumenthal, who published a story in science and technology outlet, The Debrief. Now, you can find all these articles that went to The Debrief over in that category that I told you at prophecyhour.com. If you go over there where it says categories, it's the last one on the bottom. It says Bigfoots, aliens, and other things. It's categorized there, but it's also in the main feed. Go over there and look at these things. Okay. So, Gross, who has handed over classified information on the craft to Congress and the intelligence community, Inspector General, ICIG, said he's filed a complaint alleging that he's suffered from retaliation since becoming a whistleblower. Now, the Inspector General's office did indeed give him whistleblower immunity, with this, for being a whistleblower, and he also said he is highly, highly credible, as did everybody else that talked about this guy. Clinton and Blumenthal have both researched and conducted numerous interviews on the topic, and said Gross reported corroborates the testimonies of other intelligence officials they've interviewed. According to King, Blumenthal Gross served as the NRO's representative to United Aerial Phenomena Task Force from 2019 to 2021, and from 2021 to 2022, he was a co-lead for the UAP program analysis for the NGA and its representative to the task force. The task force, which fell under the Department of the Navy's Office of Under Secretary of Defense for Intelligence Security, has been restructured and renamed the All-Domain Anomaly Resource Resolution Office to include investigating underwater phenomenon. Okay. Yes, absolutely, Frank. Frank's pointing out that Groom Lake is in the Vegas area. Yeah, sure it is. Groom Lake's what? Area 51. Area 51 is, there's the kicker. The thing that we just saw and talked about was just miles from Area 51. That's where it's at, and thanks for pointing that out, Frank. I forgot. I never thought about that. I knew there was a military base there, but I just wasn't snapping to about Area 51. But get it, folks? This is real stuff, and it's all coming out right now.
Read the rest of what he wrote.
What?
What Frank wrote.
I already know. I don't need that right now. Anyway, so let's go back. So this guy, he says, to include investigating underwater phenomenon. What this guy is talking about is the Broad Crash Retrieval Program. Gross told investigative journalist Ross Colhart on News Nation that the UAP task force was refused access to a Broad Crash Retrieval Program. So this guy worked with his agency, worked with people, and it's probably tied right there to Area 51. They have a crash retrieval program in the United States. That's to get fallen crash. Oh, what's that think of? It talks about Roswell and all these other things. And Gross is saying that all this program goes back decades. Actually, he's confirming what tons of people have been saying for a while, that UFOs crash, military comes in and picks it up, everybody sees them, they tell everybody to shut up, and they take it away. This is what he's confirming. Okay, these are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles. They call it spacecrafts, if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed, he said. Gross said he was approached by a former senior intelligence officer who confided into him that they were part of a program and it had been kept from the task force. For decades, the program has been recovering non-human craft, Gross alleged. And if you look at this guy and you see him in the videos, he's got a chest full of medals. This guy is one of the most credible person that's ever came forward with anything about UFOs. And he says, yes, we have them. We have crashed ones. We have fully intact spacecraft, like he said, if you will. And then they went and even asking, they said in response to Colbert's question, Colbert asked, he said, well, okay, let's go back to that. So if you're right, you're telling us the truth. This is Colbert, the guy that's interviewing. He says the entire American public has been lied to for decades. Colbert said to which Gross responded by saying there's been a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral. In response to Colbert's question to where the government is possession of extraterrestrial bodies, Gross said this: naturally, if you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true. So he's also confirmed that we have contact with aliens in that. Now, you can, if you choose not to believe this guy, great. Here's my thoughts on this person. Could be one of three things, and this is how I explained it to my son yesterday. I said, number one, what this guy's saying could be absolutely true. He could be just upset that the government is not forthcoming and telling everybody, the American people, what they need to know. That's number one. Could be that. Number two, could still be true, And this could be the government put him up to it so they could start releasing some of it now to have a way to get it out. Or number 3, again, the government could be having him put this out in order to bring some great big hoax on us and to distract us from what's going on elsewhere. Like what? World War III? Or what? Biden being the biggest criminal in the world? What do you think about it? Do you think that's impressive? What do you think about it?
It's a conspiracy. No, I believe him. I know. I've seen the video, and they blacked it out because they are going to try and cover it up somehow because they're planning something.
Right.
And I believe it's going to be an alien invasion. They're going to blame it on the aliens.
Well, we have been jokingly saying, you know, and people, not just us, but people even on Facebook saying, oh, isn't it time for the aliens yet? When all this stuff, you know, the pandemic and all these things came about. But what is mind-blowing about this is you listen to the fact of what he's saying. This guy is sitting here telling us that they have been retrieving down UFOs and contact for decades. Now, if you're a researcher of UFOs like I am, we have found some really incredible things because that gives credence to all these other people that have came out and said it, but we're just not government people, did not have his credentials. So it's giving credence to like the Roswell crash, 1947, which is the biggest thing they claim that started all that. He even says even before that. According to Gross, the ICIG found Gross's complaint credible and urgent in July 2022 before it was submitted to the Director of National Intelligence, the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. This led to the launching of a whistleblower reprisal investigation. Much of what Gross found in his investigation, however, couldn't be brought before Congress because they don't have the appropriate security clearance. Blumenthal stated, when you have multiple agencies testing UAP activities and special access controlled access programs, both are recipients of exploitation-related insights and for operational reasons without appropriate reporting to bears. What they're saying is these people don't, it goes back to that. This guy has information that he's willing to give out, but he can't give it out to anybody because it's so highly classified. So it's going to take some major things to do it. He says, we've been covering up this thing since the 40s.
Oh, yeah.
Since Roswell or before then, Burchard said. Burchard says, I don't trust government. There's an arrogance about it. I think the American public can handle it, and they need to release everything. That includes if they, in fact, do have a crap, which I believe at some point we've obtained some materials that are not of this world and are being studied at different members of society.
So maybe there never was. It's all made up. The zombie apocalypse is really going to be alien apocalypse.
Well,
I mean, everything they're doing is in the movies.
Right. But see, here's something else. I'm not so sure about alien apocalypse because of this. Here's the reason why. Countless people that have talked about this and people that supposedly worked on some of these UFO. Listen to me. Worked on these things, said that aliens was working right along with them. That we're actually allied with them, but they also say that there is more than one species of aliens. That some of them are hostile, so it could be a thing like that. But the other big thing, let's take it into a biblical perspective. Here's another thing that you folks need to know about. Already, since this came out, but there's been murmurings, and they put it out in programs and everything. They talking about how human beings, we were actually planted here by the aliens, that we are actually descendants of what they did. Now, from a biblical perspective, with the state of mind that most of the people in this world are, that they would believe that. If they bring the aliens forward, say, okay, we know these guys, and the aliens say, yeah, we actually planted you here years ago. So what's that do to the Bible and the Creator?
Yeah.
So that's a great falling away from the gospel. This is it could be the grand delusion that causes the falling away. These people, I saw one video last night of somebody that's been on this radio program before, L.A. Marzulli, where he talked to a whistleblower where they were talking about just that, and they were talking about the aliens wanted a one world government, and so these things, that's what I'm saying. Now, all these things coming at once, I don't know. This is what I'm telling you. You need to, be prepared physically, but more than that, you need to be spiritually steadfast, because some things are going to come out that may shake your very faith and shake the very way that you believe in it. And a lot of people that are close around you are just going to believe it, because it's with the younger generation, especially when we only have 4% of the population of the United States of America has a biblical worldview. A biblical worldview.
4%?
4%.
Wow.
But 67% claim to be Christians. But only 4% of them take the Bible as absolute and look at everything through the Bible's eyes.
Wow.
4%. And what's surprising is then they said that only it was like 33% of the pastors in the United States have a biblical worldview. So, we look out. That explains why churches are admitting gays, homosexuals, and all these things. Folks, we are in that time of the end. We're in turmoil. Don't you get it? Somebody's been telling you that for some time. I wonder who that is. Folks, we are in turmoil. We are in that time of the end. This is the time before Messiah's glorious return. But we're going to go through a grand deception and a great tribulation, and those things are opening their doors right now. So, folks, pray about supporting what we do. We really do need your help. I'm ready to go on with some other stations and things. I need a few things to do that. So we're praying for a donation for radio, but we also need food and things. So pray about supporting Messiah's brand. Now, tell them how can they do that?
You can donate online by Cash App or over the phone or by mailing a check or money order, and you can find all of our contact information over at prophecyhour.com. That's prophecyhour.com.
And if you don't wish to help with the poor, remember, donate to radio, for radio's sake. Then if you do, I'd prefer that you'd say it's either just say it's for radio. Everything else will go to Messiah's brand.
Yes, I have something to say.
Go ahead, I'm shocked.
Repent, get right with the Lord, and have a relationship with Him. That's your only hope.
Yeah, absolutely, just as my wife says.
Open your eyes and look. Be awake, not awoke.
Well, yeah, not woke. Yeah, exactly. But you need Amen. Anyway, we'll have Pastor Carl on in the next after, the second program tonight. But remember, folks, this is really important. I've been telling you for a while, but you must remember this. Remember, there is only one true God. He is your Father. He is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. His Son is Yeshua HaMashiach. He gave His life for your repented sins, and He rose after 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. And only through Him, not through some alien God, not through anything else. The only way to Him into eternal life is through Yeshua HaMashiach to the Father. You must remember that. And your Father is Yahweh. That is who He is. He is that God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, identified that way. So remember what?
Yes, be not deceived, and remember to always be a blessing to others, and pray for the peace of Jerusalem, because when you pray for the peace of Jerusalem, you're praying for Messiah's return.
Father, Lord our God, King of the universe, Father, I ask in Yeshua HaMashiach's name, Father, that you would please bless and keep them, and that your face would shine upon them, Father, and please be gracious to them and give them peace like no one or nothing else can. Until an hour from now, this is Pastor Dan saying goodbye and shalom.
Shalom.
Be blessed.
You've just heard the Messiah's Branch broadcast featuring Pastor Dan. To contact Dan on the internet, go to messiahsbranch.org. To write to Dan, send a note to Messiah's Branch,